because I think I've run out of space. All right, and we're recording. Hi, everybody. This is Jasmine Simon with Tanjay Wellness. I hope you're all doing well. I have a lovely visitor here, well, virtually here, Jo Brooks. I'm sorry, Jo Brook out of Australia. And so, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Good to be
And
here.
it's Perth, Australia. My apologies. So I want to get that straight. So Jo and I first contacted each other, I think last year maybe, or earlier this year. And it was just a few correspondence back and forth. And then I noticed that we were kind of talking about some of the same stuff and commenting on the same things. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to try to meet in person. Again, virtually, right? And so we had a video conference this past Monday, and it was great. Like we were totally on the same thing about creating a community, being a part of other cuddlers, and lifting each other up. And so we thought it would be a great idea to record this video and post it for other people to see, just kind of to push people along, create awareness, and let them know that it's okay. So thank you again for being here. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you live, and how long you've been a cuddlist.
Excellent. Yeah, so I'm Jo. I'm English and I'm now living in Perth, Western Australia. And I'm with Cuddle Haven. So that's my professional cuddling business. And I've been a certified cuddlist since last December, and I've been seeing clients since March. And yeah, I live and work from home in the suburbs of Perth. Yeah, that's me.
And do you do out calls or just in calls?
Both. Yep, very happy to do both, but most of them are in calls.
Most of them in calls. And why did you decide? Like, everybody's story is really unique as to how they heard about professional cuddling, or I'd call it platonic touch. How they heard about it, what made them get into it. And so would you share that with us?
Yeah, just real quickly. Last year, I was going through a period of time where pretty much everybody I knew was busy. And so my touch needs were not getting met, and I felt pretty crap. And so I'd already heard about professional cuddling. So I reached out to somebody who I thought might know if there was anybody in Perth. And she said no. She didn't know anybody in Perth who was a professional cuddler, because I wanted to hire a professional cuddler and get my touch needs met because everybody was busy. And she said, there aren't anybody. Maybe there's a gap in the market for you there. So I thought, you know what, I could do that. I could so do that. So she planted the seed, and I thought, I'm going to be that person, because Perth doesn't have that person to meet people's touch needs. So I was so hired a professional cuddler at the time, but I couldn't because there wasn't anybody that looked legit. There was some, but they definitely didn't look legit on the internet. And then I came across Cuddlist and thought they look great. Had a chat with Adam Lippin on the phone, and yeah, went ahead and did the training. Best thing I've ever done. So yeah, so out of suffering, if you want to call it suffering, the loneliness that I experienced last year, out of that came the best thing that I've ever done in my life. So all worked out fantastic. It was meant to be.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that. A lot of people are going through something in their lives that kind of takes them the direction. They read something, someone tells them about this gig or whatever, and it's really coming from a place of suffering or pain that they start to make this transition. I did that same thing. I wasn't ready to make changes in my life, but I thought that, hey, I can help somebody else make changes in their life. And then, eventually it caught on with me. So awesome. So one thing I really, really like that you said was the story you shared with me about creating a community within Perth as other people started popping up. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, it was really challenging at first, because I wasn't getting a lot of clients for a very long time. And then I saw that there was another cuddlist in Perth, and I reached out to her because that's what I was doing when I saw other professional cuddlers on other platforms. I would reach out to them and say, oh, hey, welcome to the community. Have you heard of Cuddlists? And da, da, da. So when I reached out to the other cuddlists in Perth, it was really good. And I said, how's it going? And she said, yeah, I had a client this week. And I just thought, whoa, I had all this envy. And I thought, but that's like, I mean, that's great. But it's also really triggering for me because I felt like such a failure because it took me 5 months to get my first client. And there's this person who's got a client within the first month of being on the Cuddlist site. So it brought up a lot of stuff for me that I thought, yeah, I really want to work through this. And I want to be able to work with this person instead of feeling envious and jealous and that she's my competition. Now she's going to take all the clients. So I thought, yeah, I got to work through this and find a way. So it was only like a day or two that I realised that actually it's a really positive thing that there's somebody else on the Cuddlist site in Perth because it gives the industry more integrity when there's more than one person in your town doing it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
also, and just all these positive things came to mind thinking there's another person doing this, and it was inevitable that at some point there would be other people doing professional cuddling through the Cuddlist site in Perth. But that was one of my fears. That was one of my fears when I first started was, why was it other people start doing professional cuddling and they're really, really busy and I'm left behind and I'm going to feel like I've failed. So that was really interesting that my fear came true. So I had to face it. And then I came through that with so much hope and wisdom that we can work together. This is actually a really good thing because she can bring more business into the industry because she's advertising herself out there, which is going to draw attention to the Cuddlist site, which is a win-win situation. It was just fantastic. The turn, and I reframed it because I'm thinking about if something happens and I'm not comfortable or happy with it, how can I reframe it? How can I learn from this? What can I learn? And that's what I learned from it, lots of things.
I think that's huge. Reframing situations is one of the things, I do that all the time. Like I look at a situation and I have maybe this negative view of it, and then I have a tendency, or I try at least, to do exactly what you just said. You know, step back, look at it, reframe what's happening. It's not what is the word? Challenge against you. It's not competition is the word I'm looking for. But instead, it's a reason to celebrate. It's a reason to come together, to share, and someone else is out there marketing for you. You know, and exactly like you said, her success, the things that she does, is going to directly affect you, hopefully in a positive way. You know, and so I absolutely love that.
Well, I had an amazing thought to reach out to her and say, would it be okay if I send potential clients your way if I can't see them because of scheduling conflict? And she said that would be a really, really great thing. Thank you so much, because that hadn't occurred to her. So it just felt so, oh gosh, it felt so abundant because I was trusting that I would get enough clients to be able to direct some in her way. And then a couple of weeks later, out of the blue, she messaged me saying, hey, I've sent a client your way. They might get in touch with you because I can't see them today because I'm sick. And I just thought, that is incredible. That's exactly how I want to be working with other cuddlists. You just send people, you know, to the other one when you can't see them and just see what happens. Just trust that everything's going to work out okay, instead of thinking, no, I've got to keep all the clients to me because there aren't enough to go around. And then you're in stress, you're in anxiety, you're in fear of lack, and that's no good.
I love that. And it's true. I think you had said when we spoke last that when you're stressed out and focused on the scarcity and the lack of and the fear of losing the clients, not being good enough, all of these limiting beliefs and these catastrophizing that you do, that's what you end up focusing on. And obviously that's not what you want to focus on. You want to focus on the abundance. And I thought that was so important that you recognize that. And
Since I've been doing that, my practice has just exploded with abundance and clients. I had my best month ever last month because I'm not focusing on lack anymore. I'm not thinking, oh, when am I going to get my next client? Oh God, I hope I get an inquiry today. And just all these thoughts that I was having for such a long time that was stressing me out. It takes discipline and commitment, because you have to catch that thought and then go, well, that's not helping. And I know that you attract what you focus on. So I started doing various affirmation techniques and listening to meditations and making sure that I reached out to people when they were doing really well and celebrating them. And then I've just had an abundance of clients and inquiries and now regular bookings. So I'm absolutely thrilled, and I just want to share that with everybody, how important it is to get your head straight.
yeah,
You know.
absolutely. You know, in 2016, when I first started, I reached out to different cuddlers on, what is it called? Cuddle Comfort. And I was trying to do this coming from construction as a woman, where we are a small group. I mean, it's growing now. There are more and more women engineers, architects, more and more female people in construction. But there was a group called Women in Construction. And so we used that to kind of lift each other up and help one another. Some of the women were project engineers or in the accounting or HR. Some of them were out in the field or project managers running the companies. And I learned from that experience that it is so important to come together and help one another, hold each other, build each other up.
Yeah.
Because this is an emerging industry. It's in its infancy. There's so few of us. The fact that somebody just came into your area who's a cuddlist is so it's unique. It's not like lawyers or doctors or massage therapists or yogis or whatever, where there's quite a few to choose from, where there aren't a lot. Maybe in New York. New York, there's a lot in Chicago.
They've already got their network. So when someone starts to become a professional cuddler, they've got nobody. I would have loved somebody to have reached out to me when I first started and said, hey, you're in my area. This is great. Let's work together. Let's see how we can just help each other and assist each other, so we can not feel so alone in this crazy industry. Because sometimes you have those thoughts of,
right,
is this a good thing? Should I be doing this? Are people going to think I'm creepy? Or those self-doubts come in with this type of industry.
Oh yeah.
And that's why the cuddlers community is so important. So I always wonder how people cope who aren't with a company. And I've tried to reach out to other other professional cuddlers in Australia who are independent of a company, and I get a very mixed response. Some are very friendly, and some are absolutely, they don't want to know. So it's really interesting. I've really tried. I've reached out to literally every person who seems legit in Australia, and I've got very mixed responses from them.
My experience has been exactly the same. A few more people through Cuddle Comfort. I met a wonderful person that I've shared my office with, Suzanne, through Cuddle Comfort, and we've actually shared clients, referred clients back and forth to each other. She and returns to the Maryland area, and she knows that my my office is always open if she needs it. If there's, say, a client in Virginia and she's in Northern Maryland or wherever. Anyway, but yeah, I do wish that there was more of a community especially for the cuddlers, the practitioners who are not certified or trained, who are just kind of figuring it out on their own, because it is so helpful to learn know some of these things going into it.
People on Cuddle Comfort, I reached out to a couple of the people in Perth who say that they're professional cuddlers on Cuddle Comfort, and I've said, I'm just interested if you've done any training, because if you haven't, I would recommend cuddlers.com. And again, I've had very mixed responses So yeah, it just seems that these people are just not interested in anything I've got to say, but that's okay. But before I forget, I've just thought of a really cool point to say, in that not every professional cuddler is a good match for every client. So for example, a client might come to see me and go at the end, oh, that was okay, you know, that was okay. And they go and see another professional cuddler and say, that was amazing, and vice versa. Because I totally believe, as I've heard this before, that your energies, your vibration, your personality, you might remind them of somebody that they don't like. You know, there's all these things that are going on in people's subconscious as well, that I'm not a good match for every single client. I'm definitely understand that. So if somebody doesn't have a great experience with me for whatever reason, they just didn't like my vibe or whatever, they didn't like the color of my hair, they, you know, I want them.
The color of your hair. You're too blonde.
I don't like your eyes. I want them to go and see somebody else because they're probably going to be a better match for somebody else. So that's really important to make that point, that I totally know that I'm not a good match for everybody. Don't expect everybody to have a freaking awesome time with me, because I know that my vibe isn't going to be compatible with everybody. So that's why it's good to have other people that you can then direct them to in case they don't want to see you again, but they want to get their touch needs met. And you can say, oh yeah, go to so-and-so.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point. I do that too with Indigo Dawn. So we have different styles, I think, of cuddling, and I do always, I tell across the board to all of my clients to go see another practitioner. I do it one way, and it's just the way that I do it. I'm very methodical. I'm a bit rigid in my practice. This is how we're going to do it. This is how it's going to go. Lots of education in my sessions. They're going to learn about all of these wonderful ideas, and we're going to make great conversation. But my experience is that with Indigo Dawn, not that I've had a session with them, but with Indigo Dawn, it's what I've been told is it's more playful, it's more fun, like two friends or siblings. There's a lot more of discussion to get to know you, your likes and dislikes kind of thing, to get to know the client's likes and dislikes. And so it is a bit different. I've been told that my sessions or my process is makes it seem professional, like that's my gimmick, right? You know, it's a professional experience, and that, or like I don't want to say transaction, but that it's just a bit rigid for some people, and that's totally okay. You know, this is the way I do it. This is my process, but that doesn't mean that everybody else does it that way, right?
Yeah.
Catherine Brook, she was in Hawaii, but she's in New York now. And actually, she just released a video yesterday that's awesome about how she got into cuddling. But she's the same way. So she's funny, and when she talks about it, she's like, I'm doing it to have a good time, to show support for my client. And I'm like, you know what? I wish I could say I'm doing my sessions are to have a good time, because I feel like they're more for education and like treatment, like therapy. And she's like, yeah, I want no part of that. She's like, I am not a therapist. And she studied psychology in college. She's like, but you know, that's too heavy. It's too much. I don't want it. I'm here to show my clients to have fun and to enjoy themselves and to support themselves in a capacity, you know? And I'm like, we're totally opposites, and that's awesome. I wish you'd move closer to DC so we can refer clients back and forth to each other. But it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, and that's important to know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it personally, when a client doesn't come back, it's like, well, you know, I probably wasn't their style, as you say, their style. You know, they knew something else.
Right. And you will never know what the other person is doing, the other practitioner, unless you reach out to them. Unless you start the conversation. And it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people. So let's talk a little bit about abundance and scarcity. And so we talked about how when you're looking at things like there's not enough for all of us, if
Mm.
you're successful, then that means I'm not. You know, what worked for you for for reframing that, for changing the way you perceived that situation? Because that is so common with so many people. I feel like anybody, if someone's watching this, I want them to try to understand, how do you get from, oh my God, Joe is doing so much better than me. She's always out on sessions. She, has all these reviews. I'm never going to amount to what she's doing. I'll never be like that. How do you get yourself out of that kind of frame of mind?
Um, it's law of attraction. You look that up. Most people have heard of that. But revisit that what you think you will attract. So if most of your thinking is, where are my clients? Why are they getting more clients? If you're always questioning and being in that negative conditioned thinking, that's not your true self. I mean, I'm a spiritual person, so I'm thinking about, what would my authentic, true self spirit say? Well, my true spirit is saying there's enough for everybody. You don't need to stress. You need to just let go and trust. And another cuddlist, gorgeous Petra, who's in England, she helped me with the abundance mentality. She sent me some meditations by Deepak Chopra, which everybody's heard of. So that really helped me to revisit that. And it doesn't happen overnight. So I understood this mentally and with my brain, that what you focus on, you get more of. But I had to feel it with my body. I had to embody this feeling of, oh my God, I've got to really watch what I'm thinking. And if I keep thinking, I have only had one client this month or whatever it is, that is going to keep happening. It's as simple as that. And it sounds too simple, but it really is. Keep it simple. What you think, you will get. So choose your thoughts wisely. And it's not about replacing a negative thought with a positive thought. That's way too difficult, because you can't catch thoughts when they come in. It's a true understanding with your soul, with your spirit, to just realign yourself back, because your true self is abundance. We are an extension, or we are an expression of the universe's abundance. So for me, it helps to believe in that spiritual side of abundance and prosperity. But also you've got to take action as well. So I took a lot of action to also look at my relationship with money. So I did tons of things to turn my business around, because I also wasn't feeling worthy of charging what I charge. I almost had like a guilt thing of enjoying my sessions so much that how can I be making all this money doing something that I absolutely love? So I took out the word unbelievable and reframed it with, this is exactly what I deserve, or something like that. Because I caught myself one day saying, I can't believe I got paid all this money to do something that I absolutely love, and I felt amazing at the end of it. And then I realized the next day, look at my thinking. Look at what I just said. I just said, I can't believe this is happening. And so that's giving a signal to the universe that you don't believe it. And so then it's not going to keep giving you that. It's kind of difficult to put into words, because I understand it. It's difficult.
You did perfectly. I think that was a perfect example. That's awesome. That's good. I think, I know for me, it helps to journal. I do a lot of future self journaling. And so it's a series of 7 questions by the holistic psychologist. Also, if you're not following the holistic psychologist, you should. Dr. Nicole LaPera. She's so awesome, very relatable. And she has a series of questions to ask, to kind of look to the future. Where do you want to be? How do you perceive yourself? What's that going to look like? What's it going to smell like? What's it going to taste like? And that's what you end up focusing on. Kind of meet your goals. So anyway,
language.
This
Language is so
important.
important.
Else that you'd like to add to this before we wrap up? I know we have a time crunch. 13 hours ahead of me. It was just so funny because I'm on my second cup of coffee, I'm roaring, ready to go, and you're like, it's almost my bedtime.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize how important your language is and what it is that you're telling yourself when you're alone. So I walk a lot, and when I'm walking, I'm kind of like dialoguing, I'm reflecting, I'm talking to myself, and it's really important what you're saying. Just, yeah, to say things like, I am getting busier and busier. Because if you say, I have a super busy practice, then your rational mind comes in and says, no, you haven't. You're delusional. So you got to be careful with the language that you're saying, that it's not unrealistic, but it's something that is gradually happening. So you could, yeah, there's all sorts of affirmations that you could do, but I really, dream wheel, oh my God, dream board. I don't know how many people have heard about a dream board, but literally, again, did my dream board, pot that up, and a week later, yeah, just masses stuff.
It was all happening. Yeah.
So
You know, I tried making a dream board on my phone, and it wasn't the same. It's definitely like a vision board. It's definitely better if I can see it.
fun. It's so much fun because what happens when you're doing it is you get so much clarity in what you want to manifest or what you want to attract. And you just look at it every day for a minute and just remind yourself, and it's so much fun. I loved it. Yeah, I love doing my dream board. It took me ages to do it. Don't know why. Again, I had a fear of success. Do you know what I mean? Because I was judging successful people. It's like, well, how am I going to be a successful person if I am judging somebody who's doing really, really well because I'm envious of them? Yeah, there's so much, so much that I've done recently. Like, I could write a whole book on it, so I don't think we've got time to talk about everything that I've done.
We'll save that for another
Yeah,
video.
where look at what you're judging, and just, yeah, we know that we all are aware of self-sabotage. So I think that I was doing that because my practice was like quiet and then busy, quiet, then busy. And every time I got busy, I worried that it would start getting quiet again. So that's what happened. I got quiet again because I started focusing on, oh my God, when this gets quiet? Oh, this is too good to be true. Oh, this is going great, but it can't be going great forever because that's just too wonderful, you know? So it's getting rid of all of that thinking and saying, no, this is getting busier and busier as each month goes on because I deserve this. You know, it's really powerful. Tell yourself those things.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I hope this resonates with people who watch the video and who are maybe a little shy about talking to other practitioners. And this gives them more confidence to reach out and not be concerned that they're up against each other or they're fighting for the same clients. So anyway, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us, and yeah, bye everyone.
Absolutely. I hope we can do this again.
For sure.
Okay.